NBA DFS show with John Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday, and welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS live stream. I am your host, James Grande, joined by Keith, ice in his veins, stir. Keith, what's going on, bro? Do you like that little improvisation there?
But I like it, yeah. I'm not sure what I did to get the moniker, but I will take it.
Every time you bless these airwaves or post content or anything, there's just multiple winners posting everywhere. So you are very good at this, so you deserve the moniker. And let's keep the good times rolling with a 6-game main slate here on DraftKings, starting at 7, ending at 8. We have people in the chat, and by people, I mean Steve, Spinblock, Crab Shingoon, The Goat See Through You, some guy, all in the chat, all leaving comments. Some long, some just simple as hi from Steve. Keith, how do we feel about the 6-gamer tonight?
It's a bit of a wild one. We've got a lot of injury situations to break down here. A couple of really, really big spreads that we need to figure out what to do with as well. So a little bit of everything. Plenty of value out there, that's for sure.
Love a slate with a little bit of everything, you know? Because there's a lot of different situations. You mentioned the spreads. Washington almost 3 touchdown underdog at home tonight. Knicks 2 touchdown favorite at home tonight. I mean, you know, the Bucks are a touchdown and a field goal, a touchdown 2-point conversion and a field goal home dog. I mean, there are some big spreads tonight. But that's what you are here to do. You are here to help the people, the fam, as Justin says, break it all down. Dave says, hola, Dave. Hope you were happy. We are partially on time tonight. We actually beat you here, so ha! Dave's been timing us. He's had his phone on a timer the last couple shows that John has forced us to be late to, and specifically John, just putting that out on record. I think I've filibustered enough here. Just kind of filling the airwaves. You ready to get into our positional breakdown here, Keith?
Yeah, let's jump in.
Let's jump in. We'll get, actually, before that, go USA, Venezuela tonight. What do we got as a final tonight here, Keith, in WBC? And a prediction.
Oh, man. Let's see.
No PCA in the lineup, but Bregman. So one of 2 Cubs available.
Yeah, PCA has been hot too. I was a little bit surprised by that, but USA pulls it out. I think that Venezuela crowd is going to be insane, though.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. Yeah, it's going to be.
It'll be a fun watch. Give me USA 6-4.
6-4. Mason Miller closes it down.
Yep.
Okay, I like that prediction. Dave goes USA 5-2. How about this?
Page, yeah.
USA mercy rule.
Oh, baby.
4th inning. Walk-off home run, Aaron Judge. Anyways, I digress. Not biased at all for Aaron Judge. Not at all.
Next week, man, the real stuff gets started. Can't wait.
Right around
the corner.
Yeah, right around the corner. 8 days away from Netflix baseball. Can't wait. Let's get into our positional breakdown. We'll start at point guard here. Cade Cunningham, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander tops the list. They are more expensive than everyone by a significant margin. James Harden is the other player above 9K. Didn't mention Jalen Brunson. He is not expected to play. He was downgraded to doubtful today. So, Keith, do you have any interest in any of these top-priced point guards, Cade, SGA, or James Harden?
There's a lot of good value that we're going to talk about, so it's quite easy to get up there if you want to. But yes, we kind of talked at off the top about the spread here. Cade specifically, I don't see how he plays 35 minutes in this spot. Can he get 60 in 28 minutes? He could. I don't know how likely it is. That has me scared off a little bit. I think I'd prefer SGA if I was going up, just because of a little bit closer game environment to be expected there. Orlando has also been sneaky bad on defense, especially guarding the point guard position. I think they've allowed like the fourth most points in the league to the point guard position. They don't allow a ton of threes, but that's not generally how SGA does his work. So it's a sneaky good matchup for SGA, I think. I prefer him over Cade just because of the game environment.
You and the field. Cade Cunningham, 2% rostered tonight. So if you want to pray to something that Washington keep a game close and you click on Cade Cunningham, good luck. You're going to need a lot of help.
Yeah, I mean, we say don't predict blowouts, but when Vegas is actually predicting a blowout, then it's a little bit different of a theory there. Like we're talking like a 10-point spread. If it stays within that, like Cade would be playing all 35 minutes.
Yep.
If now we're talking about 20-point spread, they could still miss by they could cover the spread, lose by 16, and Cade still doesn't have to play the fourth quarter.
Dude, it's a 19.5-point spread. That is not like a normal thing that we see in the
Right.
NBA.
It's absurd.
Yeah, and Harden's there too. He's fine. He's
right. Yep. It's like the ceiling isn't quite there, I don't think, for me to want to seek him out as like a major target. But yeah, he's perfectly fine, like you said.
The next tier is interesting. We'll talk about Devin Booker at shooting guard. It doesn't matter when we talk about Booker. We can talk about him here. 8,700 on a heater. LaMelo Ball, 86. Ryan Rollins had the midday downgrade down to questionable today. We have Hero. We have KPJ. We have Suggs. What say you about the 7 and 8K tier?
Yeah, this is actually a pretty strong range, I think. Let's see, where do we want? Let's start with Booker. I'm highly interested. The dude has been absolutely on fire.
Yes.
No Anthony Edwards, who's a very good perimeter defender. Minnesota's defense has been struggling as well recently. Over their last 10 games, 19th in defensive rating, even worse than that over like their last 5 games. So with what Booker's been doing, I have a lot of interest here. I have a ton of interest in LaMelo Ball right below him as well. No Bam Adebayo, presumably, and Miami plays at the fastest pace in the league. If you take Bam off the floor, Miami's defensive rating drops almost 4 points per 100 possessions. So we're talking about that takes them from like the 4th ranked defense down to the 19th ranked defense. I think it's a sneaky awesome spot for LaMelo here.
Yeah, and we know what the ceiling is. If he gets 30 minutes in a game, there's 60 fantasy point upside if and when the shot's falling, because he does so many things out there. I like the LaMelo shout. I have a ton of interest. This happens all the time where like this is like the 3rd time Kevin Porter's like returned from an injury, and all 3 times Ryan Rollins like his price balloons, and then like DraftKings feels slow to the draw when it comes to like price increase and adjustments on Rollins and Porter. If Giannis is out, it's just lock and load Kevin Porter season at 7,800, right?
Yeah, I would say even if Giannis plays and Rollins is out, I'm interested in Porter as well. If either one of them sit, Porter's going to be a primary target of mine. If both of them sit, then I mean KPJ is going to be up there with my highest owned guys.
Agreed. I'm not getting any ownership right now, and I get it because TBD on the Milwaukee situation as a whole. What about when we dip below 7K? We have Gillespie. DiVincenzo is here. We know that there's going to be no Anthony Edwards. AJ Mitchell is 5K. Any of those guys, and Nembhard, I guess, in theory. This is the front leg of a back-to-back for Indiana. I mean, this is the most egregious injury report I've ever seen. It is
it's almost their entire roster.
They have, I mean, dude, they can't even fit on one page of NBA.com's injury report. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They have 11 players listed questionable today.
Absurd.
Because 3 of them are their G League affiliate players. So they don't even know because they don't know who's playing. Like they have three guys, they're two-way players, all listed questionable because they're like, you guys might have to play. Um, so anything Nembhard and to AJ Mitchell that is intriguing?
Yeah, DiVincenzo's interesting. He doesn't get the same boost as somebody like a Julius Randle does with Ant off the floor, but I do think he has the potential to play huge minutes if this game stays close, and it's projected to stay close. I looked back the last couple of times Ant missed. They blew out Golden State last game, so I threw that one out. Before that, though, they played Houston within like 3 points, and DiVincenzo played 40 minutes in that game. So
Right.
I think he could play a boatload of minutes, even though he doesn't receive the same boost as some of the other guys. I'm interested there. AJ Mitchell has stepped right into a massive role. Obviously, with J Dub out, they need another scorer, and AJ Mitchell's kind of been the guy that they've leaned on here. I'm interested at 5K there.
Yeah, and just the starting. Like they're using Mitchell kind of like as J Dub, right?
Yep.
AJ Dub? Is that what we're gonna call him? AJ Dub?
There's already too many J Dub, J Wills on that team. So
Sure, that's true. There, yeah, we can't afford another J Will. Um, do you think just circling back to DiVincenzo, do you think the minutes? Do you think it's any different that Io's there, or do you think that doesn't matter because Ant's not there?
yeah, I mean, unless they extend someone like Bones Highland, yeah, I think he's the best candidate to get a boost there.
Okay. Okay. What about below 5K? No Trey Young, Bub Carrington, 4,700. We have Kobe White, 48. Jordan Goodwin, 47. Trey Johnson, 46. Anything there? Is there anything sub 5K that piques your interest?
Kind of a dead zone here in the 4K range because we do have a couple real cheapies that I think are very much in play. I just mentioned Bones Highland. I think he has a good shot to play around 20 minutes with upside for even more than that potentially. He's a good fantasy per minute producer as well. So not the best matchup, but should have some opportunity today. And then we need to talk about what the Knicks are going to do. Jalen Brunson with the midday downgrade to doubtful, looking unlikely he's going to play. We were talking a little bit pre-show. I think a lot of people are projecting Jose Alvarado to start, and that's probably the most likely scenario. I do think that there's some situation where they run out like a Landry Shamet starting lineup, though, as well. So just wanted to break that down a little bit. Like, obviously, if Alvarado starts, we have to have interest here at 3,200. Even off the bench, I'd have interest.
Like you said, we had kind of talked about it. I think it's Alvarado, but I think the field views it differently based on ownership. I mean, Jose Alvarado currently is not getting any sub 5% or right around 5%. Shamit's up at 30 percent right now. So I think the field views it, and at least the Sims and stuff view Shamit as the biggest beneficiary to the Brunson downgrade. I don't think that necessarily hurts Alvarado. Like I think how things could play out is if Alvarado starts, then there's a massive ceiling for Jose Alvarado at 3,200 because we've seen. I did the same thing you did for Ant that I did for Brunson, and Miles McBride was still available in those games. He started and played like 35 minutes, right? And and that's predating Mike Brown. That was Tibbs too, and that's exactly what Tibbs would do too. So you could see that type of role from Jose Alvarado, and Tyler Kolek is your backup point guard, and we know how good Tyler Kolek is per minute. Or if they go Shamit, Kolek probably doesn't play a singular minute tonight, and Alvarado just stays in like the backup role and could probably see, still a viable like somewhere between 18 and 24 minutes. I think there's like multiple different outcomes that you could see from the Knicks, but I personally think it's Alvarado.
Second question, if Alvarado starts, does he get blowout run? Because we do have a 14-point spread here. And that could grow depending on who Indiana rules out. I think the 14 points is assuming that somebody like Nembhard is playing. If they rule out all their main guys, like that spread could grow to like 16, 17.
I'm not sure he would get blowout run.
Yeah,
I think Kolek. I
Kolek
think
is
Kolek.
interesting in that regard.
Yeah, I think Kolek is the guy there. Because they also have like Diawara that would surely get blowout run. They have Hawk Purdy that would get blowout run. I think they still like Jeremy Sohan probably Dadier. Like they have I think enough guys where they wouldn't want to. They probably don't play Alvarado and blowout run, but um, it is interesting. It's an interesting fortune. It's fortunate or unfortunate that game's at 7:30. It's not a 7 p.m. lock, so we may not know. We may know ahead of time, but yeah, it'll definitely be interesting. If Alvarado doesn't start, how do you view him?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're talking about this because it's something that I'm struggling with today. Like it feels like Brunson out, we should be jamming Alvarado, but like you said, he's not projecting that well across the industry, and I think it's just because people are being conservative with the minutes. They're just
Yes.
not sure how big the role is going to be. I think if he starts, that we see the ownership skyrocket here, as well as the projections. I think projections are kind of hedging across the industry at this point.
I agree.
And if he
I
doesn't start, I still think he's playable because he's probably still going to play 24 minutes or something. He's 3,200. I'm
yes.
still interested.
Yeah, I mean that's the Shamit roll off the bench now. Landon
Right.
Shamit's playing
Yep.
28 minutes off the bench nightly. They don't have trust in Mikal Bridges, and they're without Jalen Brunson, and possibly without Mitchell Robinson as well. They don't have a deep rotation of players that they use. They are very stingy with the minutes. So I do think Jose Alvarado plays regardless. If Alvarado starts, would you play Kolek? Because then I feel like Kolek would operate as the backup point guard.
Yeah, I think he has a role even in a close game. And then if the game gets out of hand, it's a situation where he might play the entire fourth quarter. So
Right.
I would definitely have interest in.
Shooting guard, we go. Donovan Mitchell at 9,800 tops the list. We talked D-Book. We didn't really mention Hero, so we can bring him up here. Brutal spot for Bane. Knipples 72. What do you think about Khan up?
Yeah, not. Oh, I mean, other than Booker, who we've talked about already, I don't have a ton of interest here. Mitchell's kind of got the same Harden problem where the ceiling just isn't quite what you want it to be. Hero's interesting. Charlotte's been pretty darn good defensively recently.
Yes. Yes.
And I mean, I'm kind of buying like them as like a good team at this point in the season.
Yeah.
That's not to say you can't play Hero without Bam. Powell is back, so
And Wiggins. And Wiggins is out too.
Wiggins is out, right? Yep. Yeah, I mean, he's fine. I am not getting there a ton. I actually prefer Norm for a little bit cheaper, but I mean, I'm certainly not going to argue with you if you want to click Hero.
I also agree with you on that Norm front. I think 31 minutes right off rip, coming off the bench. He'd probably slide back into the starting lineup tonight. Even if he doesn't, I mean, 31 minutes off the bench, like we know what we're going to get from Norm. What do you make of Jalen Green? Because he is once again getting a bunch of ownership. Third highest roster shooting guard. I know that largely has to do with his positional eligibility as well, but he's been on a little bit of a heater as well.
He certainly has. I believe it was over 25 points a game over his last 6 games.
Yep.
So, I mean, if Booker wasn't doing what Booker's doing, he would be an even bigger story. The fact that they're doing it together at the same time is pretty impressive. They're obviously just taking a huge amount of the shots for this Phoenix team. Until that stops, I'm in. I talked about the matchup when we were discussing Booker already. I think it's a sneaky good matchup too.
Yeah, he actually has the higher usage rate between him and Booker without Brooks and Mark Williams. I found that to be a little interesting. I know it's a smaller sample, but he's $2,000 cheaper than Devin Booker. Almost 2,000. We got the Grayson downgrade to doubtful. Well, the injury report listed doubtful. Josh Hart is currently your highest rostered player of the slate. Are you buying Josh Hart at that ownership?
How many guys legitimately have triple double upside at 6,300? Not very many. Yeah, he's the one. I mean, it's an elite matchup against an Indiana team who knows who's playing. I don't care who's playing. They've stunk on defense no matter who's been out there. Yeah, he's too cheap.
Yeah, there's nothing else needs to be said. What about the rest of shooting guard? Is there anything that is intriguing to you? Just anything.
Io DeSumo is certainly
That's
interesting.
that's the one. That's the one.
Yeah, I mean, I assume that he starts here. He's probably going to be mega chalk. I think he has a legitimate shot to play mid 30s minutes in this spot.
Yeah, I don't see the only other scenario would be probably Bones, right? It would be
Yep.
Bones, or and even in that like Io's played 31 and 32 minutes with a healthy team.
Right.
So, um, yeah, lock and load our former our former Chicago Bull, Chicago-born Io DeSunmu. Uh, I have a little interest in Jordan Goodwin. 24 minutes yesterday, and now there's no Grayson Allen, but super contrarian play at the position. Nothing else.
Landry Shamet. I mean, I know
Shaman.
he stinks per minute, but he legitimately could play 32 minutes. If he starts, it could be even higher than that. He's already playing close to that level with Brunson active. So, I mean, I know it's not a comfortable click. Nobody likes to click on Landry Shamet, but he's going to be playing a ton tonight, I think.
Nobody's 32% rostered. Apparently, people like playing him
Yeah,
more.
well, that's not a comfortable number, and I'm not going to try to
Not.
get over the field on that number either.
No, I won't. I won't either. Clarkson, GPP pivot.
Yeah, definitely. We know he likes to get his shots up. Potential for
Look
blowout.
at the Golden State game is hilarious, dude. 22 minutes, 14 points, no other counting stats.
Yeah, yeah. It's all he does is he needs to make buckets, and he has the ability to do that. He's not going to do much else for you. But if he plays 20 minutes, he can score 20 points.
Let's go to small forward unless you had something else. I don't think there was anything else there.
Nope, nothing for me.
Small forward we go. Brandon Miller is $8,000. Desmond Bain we talked about. Well, we didn't, but we don't need to. It's OKC. Jarris Walker, is he the only Pacer not on the injury report? Him and Cam Jones, I think, maybe the only two Pacers not on the injury report. And Jay Huff. Anything there like Miller? I mean, you were pretty bullish on LaMelo. Do you have the same feelings about Brandon Miller?
Yeah, can always play Miller for a ceiling guy who can
Right.
put 40 or 50 actual points in the bucket. So yeah,
Yep.
I'm in.
What about Jarris Walker? Like, I don't want to spend too much time in Indiana because they're just literally impossible to talk about. But he is the one guy not on the injury report. What would it take for you to play Jarris Walker tonight? I guess that's the question.
It's a tough price tag regardless, no matter who. Like even if Nemhard and Zubac sit,
What
like
if they have eight? What if
yeah,
all these players are out and they have eight guys?
if it's Walker and a bunch of G leaguers, then I'm in. You're obviously concerned about the blowout for real. Then, like even more so. But with as much New York exposure as we're going to have, you kind of want Indiana to be able to punch back a little bit, and it seems like Walker might be a way for them to do that.
Okay. What about the rest? I mean, we talked about a lot. This is a lot of overlap. We talked Jalen Green. We talked Norm. Jaquez is a new fresh face that we haven't talked about. We talked Hart. McHale is here. Asar Thompson is here. I mean, Jaquez, Bridges, Thompson. Any of those names pique your interest?
Mild interest in Jaquez. Like I said, I'm not enthralled with the matchup. I like the usage of Norm better at the same price and same position. Bridges' minutes have really kind of started to go away. We talked about that a little bit as well. Like Hart's past him. Even Landry Shamet is playing like more than Bridges at this point.
Yep.
So it's hard to click Bridges. He's not a big per minute guy anyway, not as big as you want him to be. And then if he's only going to play 28 minutes, like that's just not enough.
What about Asar?
Mild interest, obviously a great matchup. Good tournament pivot, but just a sprinkle.
What the hell do we do with Jaden freaking McDaniels today, Keith? Because he is obviously going through it right now. I mean, he's played some bad basketball, 6 straight games of like 22 fantasy points or less. This is like what we would get out of first couple years Jaden McDaniels, where he was in perpetual foul trouble. It felt like he would start the game with 2 fouls and then like just go from there. But there's no Anthony Edwards, and that matters quite a bit. Like, what is your feelings on Jaden McDaniels for a guy who, I mean, he's like the 8th highest rostered small forward at about 15%. What's your take on Jaden McDaniels today?
Yeah, the numbers look pretty good when you take Anthony Edwards off the floor. So I'm gonna take some shots here. I know it hasn't been pretty recently, but it's like a 21% usage rate and like 0.95 fantasy points per minute
Solid.
without Edwards. Like that's really solid at 5,300 for a guy who can play 35 minutes. So I'm going to take some shots here. It probably doesn't work out. He like you said, he's going through it right now. But it seems like a good spot for him to get right when Edwards isn't there. Should have a little more range with his shooting. He should be able to get a few more shots up.
Keith, I want to get your thoughts here. Seiya Suzuki diagnosed with a strained PCL.
That doesn't sound great. Did they give a timetable? I'm guessing 6 to 8 weeks at least.
IL status uncertain.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, I guess it depends on how serious of a strain it is. If it's grade 1, maybe he can come back in a couple of weeks, but we'll see. As soon as they announced the MRI yesterday, my concern flag went way up.
Yeah, not great. As soon as the MRI is in play. Let's get this. We had a couple TC talking about Hero being leaned on here for Miami.
See, in years past, I agree, but Norman Powell is a big-time usage guy too. So I don't yes, Hero will be very involved in the offense and contend for the team lead in usage, but Powell's there as well. So I don't think it's going to be like a one-man show.
I assume Crab Shingun's talking about the Pacers injury report.
Yeah.
I guess that's probably the timing. Jose Alvarado, TC agrees. DePrince said he's late. I was gonna say a joke, but I'm happy I didn't. I was about having kids. Did it anyway. Sorry, I can't help myself. I hope
put it together from there. I think.
Yeah. I hope it is Alvarado because you can't place Sham Hot Damn in. That's a good name. You can't play Sham It on point guard. That's correct. Khan has a great ceiling. He's a Russian roulette play with Charlotte, right? Like they all have big time ceilings, and you're at risk of not getting the right guy when you play one of them.
Indeed.
Has anyone heard of Harper? He is questionable tonight, Jim. They ruled Devin Vassell out, and him and Cornette were listed as questionable. Ricky's out here saving lives. Thank you, Ricky. We appreciate you tuning in. TC wants to know about Kevin Huerter here. What do you think about Kevin Huerter, who has played like a pretty decent role, and obviously they're 3-touchdown favorite. Could we get Huerter in blowout run? Basically, the question is, will Kevin Huerter play enough in blowout?
I mean, what's enough? He can play 24 minutes, I think, in a blowout.
Yeah. Is that enough? Because I think there's one Piston play that there is definitely interest in for blowout. I don't know if Kevin Huerter is the guy.
Are you thinking Jenkins?
Nope.
Or Paul Reed?
B-ball Paul would be that guy for me. That's my guy.
Yeah, he can do it in a hurry too. I like that call. I do think it's interesting, and it depends. Like if the Knicks guys aren't, like if Clarkson isn't going to be owned, I think I feel better about that blowout situation. They have a lot of guys too. I was going to say their bench is a little more condensed, but it's really not. I guess Detroit's just every bit as much in play for blowout as New York is.
Yeah, probably more so, right? I mean, all their big guns
it's a bigger spread.
Yeah, bigger spread. Don saying, "What's up from Toledo, Ohio?" He's also talking about the NBA being hijacked by some woke mob, which I think the NBA has not been hijacked by anything. Last I checked, they, still playing every night, and we'll just move on. Clarkson over Jose, says Stan.
I think that's an interesting way to play tournaments, but as of right now, Alvarado's not all that popular. That definitely
Yep.
could change by lock. If we get the starting lineup and he's in it, the ownership probably goes way up. And then I do think it'd be interesting to take an overweight stance on Clarkson and fading Jose a little bit, even if you don't completely fade him. Just go under the field by 10-20%.
And then Landry Shamet in play, asked Steven.
He is, yeah.
We just got the official Bam Adebayo uh, out tag, and Jim, we just talked Clarkson, definitely in play in tournaments for sure. He's a high ceiling scoring player. Anything else at small forward? We I know I just like kind of derailed it by answering questions in the middle of it, but anything else at small forward? What if we didn't get to Will Riley yet? Do you think Will Riley is going to play 40 minutes again?
I mean, he's been doing it pretty
Yeah.
regularly, and they're shorthanded again now without Alex Sarr as well. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know about 40, but I think 30 plus is a good bet.
Yeah, no Koulibaly, no Sar, no Trey. They're very shorthanded. What
Tristan Da
else?
Silva's right there too. He's been playing awesome. I know it's a terrible matchup against Oklahoma City, but he's shown a big ceiling here recently.
He has.
The price is coming up too, so it's not comfortable tonight when there's so much good value. He's probably 400 or 500 overpriced, I would say, for what you want him to be.
Yeah.
But he could absolutely pay it off.
This is a tournament solely tournament brain play for sure.
Yep. Yep.
Because if he has the ceiling game, then you're getting a player at 1% that has. I mean, we just saw he has a 50 fantasy point ceiling, so I don't disagree at all. I think that's it. Let's go to power forward, where we don't know officially of the status of Giannis Antetokounmpo. He said after the game, after they asked him, he said he could have returned. This is obviously like the third time this year that he has been injured. First two times were calves. This is a knee hyperextension. If Giannis plays, what is your thought to rostering Giannis at 10-8?
I'll have some just because he has slate breaking ability, but it's not a priority for me.
He's getting some decent ownership. 15% ownership today is probably a little higher than I figured it would be. I personally, I don't think he plays. I can't imagine with where they are in the standings and like the weight of their franchise hanging in the balance, but like what they do with him in the offseason, I just can't imagine they risk anything.
Yeah, I'd go SGA over Giannis if I'm spending all the way up.
I agree. I like that. I like that thought as well. What about the next three names? Banchero, Mobley, Holmgren. Any thoughts there?
All fine. All have strong ceilings, but no priorities, I don't think, for me. Tough matchup for Banchero. Mobley without Allen, I think, has a slightly higher ceiling than usual, but just not a guy I'm getting to a ton. Part of it's because of the guy at the next position, who I'm spending up when I'm in that 8K range. That's where I'm going the majority of the time. And then Chet's I just have a hard time getting to him generally anyway. So all three are fine. Would take them in my lineup, but none are priorities.
This is a priority right here, right? Julius Randle.
Yes, and that's the other reason. Yep.
Are you under, over, or with the field at like a 30% Julius Randle right now?
Oh, I'd be significantly over the field. Like he'll probably be in half of my lineups.
That's a great number, no? 30% for Julius Randle without Anthony Edwards?
That's 7,700. He's what was he, 1.4, I think, per minute without Ant. Yeah, really, really strong play at 7,700.
Yeah, I'm suspicious of that ownership, truthfully. But the field does seemingly like Knicks players more than they like T-Wolves outside of Dosunmu, basically. So we'll see. We'll see how that ends up playing out because I'd kind of be surprised if Julius Randle ends up just 30%. What about OG at $6,800? Is that, I mean, just GPPs always that's how I view OG.
Yep, same. I'm not a priority, but I certainly will have some exposure.
As we speak, I just updated ownership. Julius Randle up to 34% now, so it's so creeping up, which
Yeah.
is not surprising at all. Um, what about the rest of this position? We have Miles Bridges. I saw Bridges getting some ownership. He's about 18%. Bobby Portis could obviously be pretty fascinating depending on who plays for Milwaukee. They have a lot of front court players on the injury report tonight. Tobias Harris, safe pair of hands. Naz Reid off the injury report today, getting a bunch of ownership. Kuzma, another one who could benefit from injuries. Like, what about the rest of this power forward, like 5 and 6K tier?
Yeah, Nas is the one that stands out a ton. Another guy that gets pretty significant boost without Anthony Edwards in that Houston game. Now, Houston was playing double big at that time, and generally, I mean, they're still playing double big, really, with Şengün and Jabari.
Yeah.
Naz Reid played 40 minutes in that game as well, which I'm not saying he's going to play that tonight, but I think he's got a good chance to play more than the 26, 27 minutes that he generally plays. Like 32 minutes wouldn't surprise me in this spot. So tons of upside here for Nas.
Yeah, tons of upside indeed, especially now that his price has dipped down to 55. Another guy who's kind of struggling, like Jaden McDaniels, kind of fighting something right now. Is Bridges just in the same bucket as the other Hornets? Like, has a big time ceiling, can play, guess the right night, win a prize.
Yep. That's exactly how I view it.
Okay. Bucks guys we talked about. What about under $5,000?
Under 5, Champagne's there. Who knows how many minutes he's going to play? It's not a great matchup.
Boy.
Yeah, I don't think I need to go there, but he's a name that's kind of popping. Kyle Anderson is pretty interesting.
Dude.
Again, who knows how many minutes, but we talked about maybe Bones getting a little bit of extended run or Io getting some extended run. It could be Kyle Anderson here in this go around, but if he played 24 minutes, it wouldn't surprise me tonight.
Wouldn't at all. I remember the first night that he got signed, they asked Chris Finch about him. He's like, yeah, he's going to play tonight. That was like his quote. I was like, oh, so he just loves Kyle Anderson. Okay, got it. And we haven't, since then, Jalen Clark hasn't played. Terrence Shannon hasn't played. Like, they don't like any of those players anymore. So, yeah, wouldn't be surprising to see Kyle Anderson be a little bit extended. Before we move on, we've had some questions coming in. We'll get to them. Stan wants to know about Simone Fontecchio, who is $3,100 tonight. No Wiggins, no Bam.
Yeah, I haven't found the need to go there. He is really cheap.
Can I give you a take?
Go for it.
I would rather play Nikola Jovic than Simone Fontecchio tonight.
Is this the number 2 GOAT call of the season for you on this fella?
I don't know, but he typically operates as the backup center when Ware or Bam have been out of the lineup. And can play the 4. So like there's multiple areas and positions that he can play.
When I saw his available status come across the newswire today, I was like, ooh, that's kind of interesting. Because I immediately thought of you when I saw the name.
Look, it's a back injury, and he hasn't played since February 20th. So it's literally been a month. And he wasn't really playing before that, but he has been a guy that operates in multiple positions when they're missing, like center. He's the backup center, and he's typically been the backup 4. So if we get the backup at both positions, there's value. If he's only backing up Khalil Ware, I'm a little worried. But I would probably rather take the shot on Jovic than Fontecchio because Jovic is such a good fantasy player.
Yep, I'm with you there. I like the call.
I'm assuming that's a Giannis point, Ricky, because I also don't understand why he's playing or trying to play, through an injury. Thoughts on Duncan Robinson tonight?
Big spread, not a guy that is going to get blowout run. I don't think I need to go there. Could he hit a bunch of threes and be useful? Sure. But probably won't be somebody I'm keyed in on.
Max Strus is back and looking homeless as ever. What are your thoughts on Max Strus?
I don't know what the role is right off the bat. Guy hasn't played all year, so I probably sit it out at least. Yeah, I know they're shorthanded, but I still don't think he gets extended.
No love for Chet at home. I'll answer this one. Don't care about home and road splits personally.
Yeah, me either. Don't even look at him.
I'm worried about Naj's shoulder. That is possibly a concern and why he has played poorly. So yeah, I think that's a fair reason, but does it matter to you, Keith, like the shoulder injury, or is he just plug and play?
I mean, if it was that big of an issue, I don't think he'd be out there, is kind of how I handle these situations. Like at this point in the season, who's 100% is the way I look at it. Like, he's good enough to be out there. That's good enough for me.
Another Max Strus comment. What about Bones Highland? We briefly touched on Bones here. What are your thoughts on Bones?
Yeah, interesting pivot. I think it's risky and a little bit thin, but I do think it's viable tonight.
If he starts.
Well, yeah, that's a different kind. If he starts instead of Io, then he's a jam. Like
lock and load.
Yeah.
What about Obi Toppin, one of 27 Indiana Pacers on the injury report tonight?
Nope. Not enough minutes.
Not enough minutes. Mitchell, ? Davion?
Fine. More of a floor play. I don't think you're going to get over 30 minutes, even with them shorthanded. He's just somebody they've kind of kept around that mark most of the season. Could he find a double-double in 28 minutes? He could. So he's playable. He's cheap.
Only to me, not to you, so don't answer. Can Jaquez get us 40 plus DK points tonight? Also, is Ware sneaky value at center?
Where is the opposite of sneaky?
He is currently the highest rostered center of the day. What about Jaquez? Do you believe that this is a 40 answer? Do you think Jaime Jaquez scores 40 fantasy points tonight?
I will take the under on 40 tonight.
Okay. Range of outcome for Jaquez?
It is in the range of outcomes, yes.
Okay.
He could go over 40.
Was a Giannis point. They're ripping him on X today. Cam Jones, a pivot off of the Knicks, solely based on who's in and who's out.
Right. Got to see the final injury report there.
This is some hot Tuesday night NBA talk. Brunson, Cade, SGA. Well, Anthony, I'll help. We'll ask you. We'll shrink this question. Jalen Brunson is doubtful. So Cade or SGA? I know your answer, but I don't think Anthony was here at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, there's a massive spread for Cade. So I'm going to go SGA. I think Orlando can keep up with Oklahoma City a little bit more than Washington can keep up with Detroit. So give me SGA.
Unicorn says where tonight. So we will head to center where Khalil is available to play at 5,900.
Indeed, he is. And that is way too cheap of a price tag with no Bam Adebayo in the lineup. Should play close to 30 minutes, maybe more than that. And he's a very good permanent producer. He is one of the best plays on the slate.
Center's sneaky good today, right? Because you go to the top of the. We'll go back to the top after now that we touched on how good of a play Ware is. We have Carl here, no Jalen Brunson at 9K. Do you view this differently if Ivica Zubac plays versus doesn't play, or do you just looking at it? There's no Jalen Brunson. It's Carl's world, and we're just going to live in that.
I think it's Carl's world tonight. I don't see any way that he doesn't dominate this matchup. I think Zubac not playing, yes, it'd be an easier matchup, but I think the blowout would be even more likely at that point. he should smash regardless. Even if Zubac plays, he should absolutely smash in this spot. He's 1.45 fantasy points per minute without Jalen Brunson. You take Mitchell Robinson off the floor as well, who was a midday downgrade to questionable. He's up to 1.52. So elite stuff here from Towns in an elite matchup. Even if he only plays 30 minutes, I think he still can get you 50 fantasy points.
Is Carl your favorite spend up today?
Yes.
Okay. During
like Randall, a little bit surprised at the ownership number we're seeing there. Like I thought he would just be mega chalk, and maybe that's a spread thing. What do you got for an ownership number on Towns?
Let me refresh. It was at 29. Yeah, it's like 29%. I see.
Yeah, so like sub 30 is crazy to me. Another guy that'll probably be in half my lineups.
Yeah, it's so easy to play them both. Like it's just, is it like, how much can Jalen Duren get done in 3 quarters? Because it's a very, the spot doesn't get any better than this.
It does not. I'm scared he's going to play 20 minutes is the problem. He just doesn't need to play more than that in this spot. If he gets 28 minutes, I'm highly interested.
If Jalen Duren plays 30 minutes, he's optimal today.
I think that's correct.
How many?
He could go 15-15 in 30 minutes, like easily.
Dude, he went 14 and 10 in 15 minutes the other day. This man could go. This man will go 30 and 30 if he's playing 30 minutes in this spot. Julian Reese had 3 fouls in 4 minutes yesterday. What is he going to do with Duren on the flip side today? We have Rudy at 66. Zubats is questionable. Hartenstein 6K. Ricky, let's just, before we go any further, we'll just comment on this here. It's very situational. We're gonna go to Washington here, and we're gonna hover over Washington. Look what they have available today, and I believe in that game, was that the game that Cade took 60 shots or whatever, and they played basically without anybody?
I was wondering if that was the CJ McCollum nuke game. I for some reason I had that in my head that's the game that CJ went off for like 40 points.
I think that happened, and on the opposite side, Cade took 50 shots, team to himself, and they like played in overtime. I think that was like, I could be wrong. But I thought that was the game where Cade took like 40. It took like the most shots in a game ever, or whatever. I don't know why I just clicked on Cade and Isaiah Stewart's picture came up, but
that's weird.
Washington. It was 38 minutes. I'm just saying like, I'm also not a big time blowout. I say it like repeatedly. Keith and John here at 24/7. Keith typically sides with me on that as well. Like,
yep.
It's just a 19.5 point spread. Washington on the second leg of a back-to-back against the best team in the East.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit earlier, and maybe he wasn't around for then, but 19 points is way different than an 11-point spread, which is typically when we're talking a wide spread, we're talking like 10, 11 points. This is double that. And that was the game that CJ scored 42 points, and it went to overtime.
Yeah, and CJ doesn't play for this team, and they don't have they don't have anyone available.
And Alex Sarr is out, and Koulibaly is out.
Yeah, yes, they are NBA players, most of them, and could it in theory possibly stay close? Sure, but if you want to play low-owned Pistons, nobody's playing them. I mean, no one's playing Cade. Duren is getting almost 20%. So if you want to play Duren, that he's not Cade ownership. Cade's 2% rostered today.
Yeah, I mean, if you think that this game has a chance to stay close, by all means, fire up some Cade. I'll probably in 40 lineups, I'll probably have 2 Cade Cunninghams. I'm not going to fade him completely because he can break the slate, but it's not an overweight stance that I want today.
All right, let's round out. Let's get the rest of center handled here. Gobert 66, Zubats 61, Hartenstein 6K. Any of those names more interesting, or would any of those names be in your lineup over a cheaper Khalil Ware?
None of them would be in over Ware, but I do think Gobert's interesting.
Agreed.
No interest in Zubac or Hartenstein with their minutes right now.
Agreed on the Gobert front. We had a Musa Stan as sneaky center, Musa Diabate or Paul Reed. Not exactly priced the same, but who do you think is more sneaky? I guess is the question there.
I think I would rather go with Paul Reed today.
Same.
Diabate was playing really well there for a while, but has kind of fallen off a little bit. Um, he's not getting the point side of the double double is the problem. Like that's what you kind of need, that double double, and I trust him to get the rebounds. It's the points that I'm concerned about.
I agree. I don't view him sneaky very much. We will. Oh, let's see. Yobi Trice with the 199 dono. Thank you, Yobi, for the super chat. We appreciate you very much. And if you guys do want your questions answered right away, just that option is available. But you do not need to. Don't feel like you need to do it at all. How do we feel about Dante with Io? So playing them both. Is that a max one for you, or would you play them both?
I think they'll be on the floor together a lot, so I'm fine with both of them. And Io is really cheap, so and Dante's not expensive either.
Let me take that a step further. And again, Trace, we appreciate the donation very much. So, what's your max? And I know you're a max 3 guy typically, but what's your max Timberwolves you would play today?
Yeah, it's three. Three is the answer. That's generally my answer, unless we have like a 8-man rotation situation.
Okay, we do kind of. Minnesota doesn't play a deep rotation, but they do have other options available.
See, when there's only 8 active, then the blowout run is guaranteed.
Sure.
A guy like Io is not going to be out on the floor in a 20-point game in the fourth quarter. Is the difference when they have the other guys available off the bench.
Jalen Brunson officially out. Mitchell Robinson officially in today.
Wow, so that's surprising.
Mitch Rob in, Jalen Brunson officially out. So we have that news. And again, Trice, one more time, thank you very much for your kindness and donation. Never feel the need to do it, but we really appreciate it very much. Do we see more Sasser? Stan wants to know.
Good question. I really don't know what to think about what, like, they bounced him all over the place over the past, like, seemed like they gave him a little run and now they've kind of soured on him again. I guess he could play in a blowout though. That's certainly in play.
Yeah, Detroit's a nightmare. Just gonna say it out front. They're a nightmare outside of their top 2 and Paul Reed. The whole situation's kind of like I don't think you can play anything situation at all, truthfully.
Yeah. I mean, with Herter and Green there too, like and Danis, like there's a lot of guys there that could play.
Holland, they have like endless possible minutes that they could just give out. Is there anything else at center that you want to talk about? Anthony has a question about Wendell. We'll get to him in a second. Anything at center that you want to talk about, and then we'll answer questions, and then we'll get a core play built, and we'll get out of here.
The Washington center situation is very interesting. Reese, I would say, probably starts. I think that is Vucevic active. He is, right?
Yeah, and Gill, all three.
And Gill, yeah. So I think you could play any of those 3 would be fine. Obviously, Reese at the cheapest price tag is the most appealing.
I was gonna ask you to rank them. Reese would be 1 for you.
Yes. And probably Vuk second, Gill third.
Okay. Yeah, Anthony Gill. The minutes have been good, and the price has obviously come down. But he's just not a good fantasy. He's just not a good fantasy player.
Right. He probably plays more minutes than any of them because he'll play some power forward as well. But he's just not as good of a fantasy guy.
That barring Reese doesn't get in foul trouble.
Right.
Because I do think Reese would play probably similar minutes if he stays out of foul trouble. We'll get to some questions here before we get out of here, and then we'll build the core and then we'll get out of here. Do you think Wendell Carter is sneaky?
I do, yeah. I actually wrote him up. He's played over 30 minutes
A lot.
semi-regularly, yeah, but I think sometimes he doesn't. Last game, he had played over 33 minutes for 3 straight games before last game against Atlanta. That Atlanta score doesn't look that lopsided, but it was out of hand in the third
Yes.
quarter, and the
Yes.
bench kind of came back and tightened it up a little bit. That was a true blowout. So I do think he's live for like 34 minutes in this spot.
Agreed. What about Chet? We've had a couple Chet questions. What's your official Chet stance here?
I never play a ton of chat. I just don't. It's hard to find the ceiling.
Yes.
I mean, he's playing next to the MVP. What like it's obviously going to be hard for him to find a ceiling.
Yes.
He's fine. He's just not somebody that I get to a ton. I think there are a lot of other plays that I would get to first.
It's a price that still suggests that SGA is out. Okay, here's the news that we've been waiting for, Keith. Jose
Indiana
Alvarado will be your starting point guard tonight for the New York Knicks.
All right. Over under 28 and a half minutes.
Mike Brown has a lot more Tibbs in him than I think people realize. I'll go slight under, I think. I'd go slight under.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at too. And I think that's why the field's not getting to as much of him. Like it feels like he's a free point guard starting for Jalen Brunson. We should be jamming him, right?
Yeah, but I do think the field thought it was going to be Shamet because that's what they've done, right? I had updated the projections earlier at Fantasy Alarm when the Brunson downgrade happened, and we said it all show. I thought Jose Alvarado was starting, and I put him at I had him at 26 minutes. That's kind of where I had assumed he slots into.
I'm with you. I like that number.
Wow, there's no reason for Mitch to play. That's annoying.
I agree. I had the same thought.
Big Russ said that slightly bumps down Hart. That is obviously Mitch Robb. That was right around the Mitch Robb stuff. Do we see more Hart or Bridges? I think both of us are probably on the Josh Hart bandwagon there.
Yep.
Doug likes Dennis Jenkins more than Kevin Huerter. Do you agree?
I do agree.
Yeah, I agree. I agree as well. I see through with the dono. I see through. Appreciate that greatly. You do not have to do that. You're the actual GOAT. But we appreciate that tremendously. I hunt with the Alvarado start. TC, Alvarado or Reese for util, both $3,200.
Yeah, that is close. I don't. I need to look at that one a little closer.
Giannis out.
You had called that one.
There's just never a reason that there was just never a chance he was playing after hyperextending his knee. Never.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think you were all over that. Man, that Alvarado Reese 1v1 has got me
in a pretzel here.
Yeah, it really does. Here? I think Reese has more upside, and I think he ends up being lower owned. So my initial reaction was, oh, it's Alvarado, but looking a little closer, factoring in fantasy points per minute and that type of thing, I'm going to lean Reese slightly. That might be contrarian.
Reese has the GPP upside because he can close, and I don't think if this game blows out, I don't think Alvarado is in the closing lineup. OG sneaky?
Yeah, a little bit. I don't think a ton of people will go there because obviously Towns and Alvarado are going to be the two clicks, and even Hart is cheaper.
Yes.
So I think Hart is actually the one that's going to keep the ownership off of OG.
Thoughts on Paolo?
He's fine. Obviously, it's a very tough matchup. That does not mean that he can't go for 55 fantasy points tonight.
How many minutes do you think Tyler Kolek gets?
16.
I would say 16 to 18. I agree with that. Asar or Hart?
Hart.
We like McDaniels. He's fine.
Yes. Good low owned guy in a good spot.
This is a good question, Anthony. With Giannis out, is Portis a must play?
Jericho Sims is throwing a wrench into this rotation. Did we get Miles Turner news also?
No, or Usman Jang. We have not, or Ryan Rollins. They still are all listed on the injury report.
Portis could become a must play. If Turner is in there, I am still hesitant. Definitely not a must play.
Yeah, we'll have. There's still multiple layers of Milwaukee to figure out. Does Reese get 3 fouls in the first 1.5 quarters? He had that in the first 1.5 minutes yesterday. It wasn't quarters. It was. He could very much could.
But that's the thing that you hope the field is judging, and then they don't play him, and then he goes out there and 10Xs tonight.
Right. Which guard do you like more, Kevin Porter Jr., Tyler Hero, or Desmond Bane?
It's definitely KPJ now that Giannis is out.
And then final question, we'll get a build here, Keith. Alvarado or Bones, salute to you, the Dread. We appreciate your continued support.
That's Alvarado for me.
Agreed.
Especially with him starting now.
So so where do you want to start? Randall?
Yeah. And Cat.
Carl?
Yes.
Okay, Randall, Carl. So this is the tricky part with the Reese play, because if we don't play Reese, or if we play Reese, we're not playing Khalil Ware.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Ware is a priority today. Like, he could legitimately go for 50. He could 10x himself at a higher price tag.
So the build is basically Alvarado, Ware.
Right. That's the chalky build. So flipping it and going Reese and then paying up a guard is flipping the build a little bit, I think. But yeah, for like a single entry build, I'd go Ware here and then go Alvarado.
Okay. Ware, Alvarado. And then give me one more play that would balance out this chalk in this lineup.
Jordan Clarkson.
Ooh, that's a good one. I like that.
I also like AJ Mitchell.
Ooh, I like the AJ Mitchell one too. Clarkson. Let's see. We'll defer to ownership here. Whoever's lower owned, I will.
Clarkson's small forward eligibility is probably going to skew that.
Yes. No, it's Mitchell.
Mitchell's higher. Nice.
Mitchell is getting around 18%. Clarkson's still under 10. So we'll go Clarkson. We'll plug him at small forward, and that'll be our core. Last question. You guys are killing me here, spamming questions. Right, Keith has 60 lineups to run. Okay, and now Steve. Okay, we're gonna rapid fire these. Okay, I'm sorry, it's my fault.
No,
Kevin Porter or Brandon Miller?
Kevin Porter.
Mitchell Robinson against Indy.
Yeah, I like it. Haven't thought about it all day because I assumed he wasn't playing, but I like it.
Yeah, they could definitely double big. Duncan Robinson is my dude. What do you think about Strus? Those two things don't correlate at all.
I'm not into either of them tonight.
Unless Duncan Robinson's like your legitimate friend, then okay. Cater SGA, we're both on SGA. Yep. Steve says the Hornets were great on defense. Is that the same, or have they fallen off? Where scares me?
They have been great.
They have been
on
great.
Defense.
They have been great. Yep.
I don't really care about matchup when a player is too cheap and going to play more minutes without a huge usage and rebound guy next to him that he usually smashes next to anyway.
Yeah, minutes should have an infinite minute ceiling, but we do know how much Spoelstra hates Khalil Ware.
He can't tonight, though, right?
There's Jovic. Yes, he can. Jovic
I
is there.
Say he can't.
Jovic, don't test Eric Spoelstra. Don't, because then we're all going to be doomed. All right, that's it. We're getting out of here. 7 minutes past the hour. We appreciate you, Keith. You're the GOAT. We'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m.